I don't need to tell anybody watching this video that gaming's an expensive hobby, but much like any hobby, if it's something that you enjoy, you spend your hard-earned money on it because it gives you pleasure at the end of the day when you kick your boots off. Today I'm going to go over all the hidden costs of owning one of the new consoles, whether that's the Xbox Series S and X, or that's the PlayStation 5, digital only, or disc version, what you absolutely need and what you can kind of skimp on to penny pinch, shuck and jive, and ball on a budget, as the kids say, to get yourself into the next generation of console gaming, the absolute cheapest. Let's get this thing, boys. Alrighty, fellas, so I just got home from work. You know, that's what I do during the day in order to fund my gaming habit, because there are worse things we could be addicted to. Heroin, tie hookers. Now, I just came across this article here from PC Mag, and I gotta say, they do bring up some valid points. However, there is some strong misinformation in this journalism here that I'm gonna go ahead and check them on. Just a quick shoulder check, nothing crazy, nothing aggressive. It won't get me put in the penalty box or anything like that, boys, so don't worry about that. But again, anytime I cover any kind of news or I refer to an article, it will be linked in the description below. I always cite my sources, so if you guys want to go ahead and read the article in its entirety, I know my community is a bunch of avid readers, so I fully support that. I like the words too. Alright, so just looking at this picture here, they're not off to a good start. $418.98 for an Xbox Series X and $518.98 for the PlayStation 5. Where in God's sweet green earth, where in the back of baby Jesus' dirty soiled diaper did they get these MSRPs from? They both retail for $500. With tax, you're looking at about $530, depending on your state and what kind of sales tax you pay. Now, keep in mind, this is a major outlet here. This is PC Mag. And they're also saying console costs plus 2 games. New gen games are anywhere between $60 to $70, depending on what they are. So far, the only $70 title we've seen has been 2K, which I don't know anybody paying $70 for a sports game, considering most recent sports games have been absolute trash. Generally, you're going to pay between $60 and $65 for a new release game, so I don't understand how they're getting these numbers. Moving on. So you buy a console, that's all you need, right? Well, unless you want to play it like it's an Atari Circa 1983, not really. I get what you're trying to do there. You're trying to paint a little bit of imagery with the journalism and whatnot. Not bad writing, but I am going to give you some pointers here on PC Mag. You can't even really compare them to an Atari Circa, which, by the way, I do own that console. Granted, it's an emulated version. I don't have the physical version because it'd probably go for about $50,000 in good condition. But the performance with just the console alone, even if you didn't buy anything else, you know, you didn't have the TV to push the frame rate or anything, it's not even comparable to a Circa. But I get what you're trying to do. So again, with the false information here, these are the base price models of the consoles. Nope, not at all. The base of the PlayStation 5 is the discless version for $400, and the base of the Xbox Series is called a Series S. It's a completely different console. Same operating system, same CPU, but different GPU, making it a different APU. And then right here, this sentence doesn't sit with me well either, boys. You could spend close to double the sticker price for a console right now because availability is extremely limited. Thus, they are saying that you, my community, is stupid enough and desperate enough to go out there under a bridge and satisfy a scalper by buying one of these things on the street. Do not buy from a scalper. You are going to pay double to triple MSRP. Granted, that was at the beginning of the shortage. Now we're coming down to where you can pick up one of these at a bargain of about $800. That's still not good. I still don't recommend fueling that fire, that douchebag fire, by squirting your gasoline on them. You can squirt whatever you want on those scalpers. Just don't fuel their fire. You guys know how I feel about scalpers. I'm not a fan. I'm not a big fan. I think they got the shrimp dick swanging. So this is a very good point here. They mention having an online service such as Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus. That is $60 a year. Now, that is unfortunate. Again, that is something that PC has going for it. I mean, PC has a lot of perks over console, but that is one of them, is that gaming online is completely free over there. And most games that people are playing, competitive multiplayer games, are cross-compatible anyway. So I play with my console friends for my PC all day. Now, keep in mind, I do have the new gen consoles as well. Now, do also keep in mind, a lot of people don't know this because they only have been on Xbox or PlayStation for the longest time. I have both, and I have experience with both. PlayStation, you can play online free-to-play games. So Fortnite, Warzone, Apex Legends. As where Xbox, you will need to pay to play even free-to-play games you'll need Xbox Gold. Now, they're doing that in an effort to get you to buy Game Pass, which is a good value. They do mention that down here later in this article. But Game Pass comes with Xbox Live, and that's why they're making even free-to-play games pay to play online. You need a super fast internet connection, which they estimate $1,020 a year. So You only need a super fast internet connection if you're going to primarily be playing online games with your console. If you just need to download some single player, story driven MMORPGs or any kind of story driven offline game, that's primarily what you play, then you don't need a super fast internet connection, and you don't need a super fast internet connection to play online. If it's getting to the point where you're getting a super high ping, you're dropping frames, or you're getting match made with all kinds of weird regions, that might be an issue. Also, most internet providers such as AT&T, Spectrum, Cox, Mediacom, they offer a promotion that usually runs 1 to 2 years, where it's generally about $60 to $70 depending on your region. Okay, don't decapitate me if they don't offer it in your neck of the woods. For about $60 to $70 per month for gigabit Ethernet or equivalent to gigabit Ethernet, probably about 960 down, 30 up. Now that comes out to 60 times 12, that's $720 a year. And that's balls out internet gigabit. So I don't know, again, I mean, I get maybe this is the average of North America. Maybe that's what they're going for here. You also need extra storage for games. 1 terabyte for the Xbox is $220, $230 for the PlayStation. Now you're just making up factoids because the PlayStation doesn't have expandable memory, and their NVMe expansion slot is actually firmware blocked where you can't even put your own NVMe SSD into the hole, boys. You can try and slide it in the hole. It's just going to spit it right out at you. Yes, the Xbox Series S and X did launch with a proprietary Seagate $220 1 terabyte expansion kit, expansion block that you shove in the back of the rectum of the console. That is true. $230 for the PlayStation. Maybe they're speculating that's going to be the MSRP when it actually gets launched for the PlayStation. And yes, you are going to want additional storage. If you got the Series S, which I have, it is 512 gigabytes. However, only 360 of those are usable. The PlayStation is a weird 825 gigabyte hard drive, but that's 667 gigabytes of usable space. The Xbox Series X is leading the pack of stock storage with 802 gigabytes of the 1 terabyte usable. Now, granted, you can get away with that on the Series X, but I will say with the PlayStation and definitely the Series S, you are going to want to expand the memory. However, they don't tell you that here because they're just trying to make this article look like gaming is the most expensive thing in the world. You don't need to buy one of these proprietary SSDs. Now, that will run all the new gen games, the proprietary games, but if you're just playing some legacy titles such as PS4 or Xbox One, Xbox 360, whatever, you can use an external hard drive, like a Seagate 4 terabyte external hard drive, or even a plug-in USB external SSD. Now, some of those are not compatible. More so on the Sony side of the house, PlayStation is having some compatibility issues right now where when you turn off your console or put it into rest mode, if you don't shut it down all the way, you just put it into standby or rest mode, and then you go to turn it back on, it will corrupt your SSD if it's not compatible. So that is unfortunate. I will make a separate video going over all the compatible models so you guys don't screw yourself and waste your money. But yeah, so you do want extra storage, but I don't know why I keep saying but like that, but you can, Cletus, you can put your legacy titles, your old titles, and your applications, Twitch, YouTube, Netflix, on your external. And then just put your AAA modern PS5 and Xbox Series titles on the internal storage, and you'll get away with that. You might have to uninstall some games, reinstall some games as you need, which sucks, I get it, but you don't need, if you're balling on a budget and you just want one of these consoles, you don't need to buy these NVMe SSDs over here. By the way, anything that I mentioned in this video will be linked in the description below. So like the external hard drive that I use on my Xbox Series S, also these proprietary NVMe SSDs. Yes, they are very expensive, but they are linked in the description below, and they do run sales on Amazon occasionally. Finally, we're going to factor in the TV. Well, that makes sense. You can't do much gaming without a TV. Now, this is fudging it a bit. It's not like owning a 4K TV is exclusive to gamers, after all. But that being said, 4K does seem to be a prerequisite for a decent view of the virtual playing fields. This is weird that it's PC Mag, because when you read this sentence here, it's worded like a company. This is worded like a journalistic platform like CNN or NBC or Fox that doesn't know much about gaming. You can kind of tell when they're trying to cater to gaming readers, but they're not actual gamers, the journalists that are writing it. And that's kind of what this seems like, which is weird because this is from PC Mag. Yeah, you're going to want a 4K TV. What's most important here is to get a 4K TV that supports HDMI 2.1 with a refresh rate, a native refresh rate of 120 hertz, which will give you, in essence, 120 frames per second. The image is refreshed 120 times per second, which means when you're playing shooters and racing games, fast-paced action, it's going to look very fluid and smooth. You know, what the PC world's been seeing for the last 10 years. And console's been, capped at 30 or 60 if you're feeling real naughty on the One X and the PS5 Pro for the longest time. Now, consoles have been savagely underpowered in the frame rate department compared to PCs, but this generation, 120 is very respectable, and it makes a huge difference when you're playing, like, for example, when I played Halo Master Chief Collection start to finish, at 120 frames. That's on the Series S. It was dynamically upscaled 1440 HDR at 120 frames per second. It was very similar to my PC experience, but with a controller. It was fucking awesome. Excuse my language. Pardon my French, ladies. And you do not need to spend $1,400 minimum for a 120 hertz 4K TV. The TV that I got is one of LG's flagships right now, or actually flagships from last model year now, but that retails for $1,150, and I got mine 33% off. I believe I paid $850 plus tax. It was about $920 with tax and everything shipped to my door. And it's a 75-inch HDR, individually backlit, so not edge lit, but it's not OLED or QLED, which is fine because I made a video recently. OLEDs are susceptible to burn-in, which is particularly susceptible to us gamers who have, maps and HUDs on the screen constantly, a static image. Not saying that I don't like OLEDs, not saying I wouldn't buy one, just saying for my budget at the time, I think the individually backlit LED TV, 75-inch, 2 120 ports, works just great for me, boys. And again, I got that on sale for under $1,000. Now, it depends on how you shop around. If you are specifically on a budget and you want to get a 120 hertz TV, you don't need to get a 75-inch like I got. You can get yourself a 55, a 40, a 65. Keep in mind, those 10-inch increments that TVs jump up in are usually a substantial price gap as well. So again, they're kind of fluffing these numbers a little bit, it seems like. Again, I mentioned my TV. I will have my TV as well as a couple even more budget-oriented versions down there in the description below to help you guys save some shekels in your coin purse. So again, looking at their little diagram here, they made it seem like a little iceberg. Wrong. Multiplayer, don't need it, but probably are going to want it. Extra storage, don't need to go with these proprietary versions, but if you are going to want new gen titles on there. But again, in the temporary, you can uninstall and reinstall games to forego this price right here. Super fast internet. Super fast. Nope, incorrect, about $700. 4K, okay, HDMI 2.1. They do mention it right there, but it would have been nice to have had that in the article. They do mention HDMI 2.1 right here, but they don't expand upon or explain why HDMI 2.1 is important. That's just numbers and letters to people. HDMI 2.1 is a faster means of data transfer that will get you that 120 frames per second. Bingo. Suggested options for saving money. Oh, guys, they're going to be financial advisors now and give you some tips on how you can save money. And then I'm going to give you guys the proper methods you can save money here. Get a digital-only console that does not take discs to save a few bucks up front, which you'll lose later by buying more expensive digital-only titles. This depends. If you stream Netflix, you don't have a Blu-ray movie collection on a bookshelf somewhere in your house. If you don't have any physical PlayStation 4 or Xbox One games that you want to be able to play on your console, then yes, getting a digital version, especially the PS5, because it's the same exact console but $100 cheaper, that would make sense. But again, if you have a Blu-ray movie or game collection, you're going to want to still play those. Now, with the Xbox, it's a little bit different because it's a $200 gap, but it's not just the optical drive you're getting rid of. It's a completely different console with about a third of the GPU performance. And then they say right here, which you'll lose by buying more expensive digital-only titles. When games launch, the digital and physical versions are identical in price. Now, over time, the digital-only version tends to hold its value a little bit more, and then you can always go to GameStop and get like a used disc copy for like $17.99 of games that have been out for like a year or 2 years. As where if you go onto PSN or Xbox Live or even Amazon to buy a digital voucher, it's still pretty close to the original retail. So I think that's what they're referring to, but launch, they're identical, boys. Also, you can try Game Pass Ultimate for Xbox, which includes Live, or PlayStation Now, both of which give you access to plenty of games for one price. I do fully agree with this. Xbox Game Pass is much, much better of a subscription service than PlayStation Now. It has more titles, better titles, and overall a more fluid experience. Not to mention, they have an ecosystem with Microsoft. So if you have a gaming PC, you can save a game over on your PC, go into your living room or bedroom where you have your console, pick up the progress over there, as a good portion of the library is playable on both your PC and your console. And it does, of course, include Xbox Live, so you'll have access to your online games. You also get 3 free games a month with that. Same thing with PlayStation Now, which gives you PlayStation Plus. That will also give you 3 free games that you can download from the PlayStation Store every month that are probably not on the Game Pass or PS Now library, so there's more games for you to play right there. So yes, I do advise, if you are on a budget, to get Game Pass Ultimate. Now, if you're just on a console, there is Game Pass that's $10, not the Ultimate that's $15. Now, that is not cross PC, and also it doesn't include the online service, but if you're just looking for a library of games to download and play, that's an option for you. Also, they forget to mention one of the biggest costs with owning a console, and that is all the accessories that you're going to need and or want. So if you want to play with anybody else, all these consoles come with one controller. You want to play with a bud or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever you're stuffing on the side, you're going to need an extra controller. Series S and X controllers are $60. However, they do run on sale as low as $40 on Amazon. In fact, I scooped up three of them for $40. But the DualSense 5 controller for the PlayStation 5 is a $70 controller. With tax, you're looking at about $73 out the door on Amazon. Now, granted, if you're moving to an Xbox Series from an Xbox One, any of the premium controllers that you've had, Scuf, AIM, Battle Beaver, Razer, Microsoft Elite 1 or 2, all those transfer over to the Series and vice versa. And same thing with the headsets. Virtually any Xbox One headset will work on the Series. However, PlayStation, different story. 0 of the controllers from the PS4, absolutely 0. I've done a lot of research on it, as I do primarily focus a lot on premium controllers on this channel. They don't work. There is no current paddle controller for the PS5 unless you make one, unless you solder the board yourself. Same thing with headsets. A lot of the PS4 headsets do work, but not all of them. There is a compatibility chart that you can Google for, like, will my headset work? And there's probably an article or a forum, a Reddit forum on your headset, and will it work for PlayStation 5? But they do not play very well together compared to like the Xbox. So that's something to keep in mind. Headsets, premium controllers, any other accessories you want. Like, for example, PSVR 2 was just announced officially from Sony. I made a video about that a couple days ago. You're probably going to want to pick that up, as it's going to be freaking awesome. So kind of tie all this into the cost of owning the console over its lifetime. You know what I mean? Plus repairs. Maybe your console goes down and it's out of warranty and you have to pay, you know, to have it shipped to Microsoft or PlayStation to fix it. If you don't want to take apart the panels and, you know, do some troubleshooting, check the wires, solder the PCB. And then right here, I highlighted this as well. You should get a second job to pay for it. Yes, I do strongly advise that everyone has a second job, and I don't necessarily mean a physical 9-to-5 employee situation, but something entrepreneurial on the side. Start a YouTube channel, Twitch stream, find out what you're talented at, and find a way to make it lucrative and monetize it. Now, granted, not everyone wants to do that, but gaming is an expensive hobby, and hobbies in general, anything that gives you pleasure in life. This is, I know I'm life coaching you guys now. Usually I charge for these kind of sessions, but anything that you enjoy in life, what the fuck is this? Anything that you enjoy in life is probably going to have some kind of monetary value associated with it. Gaming is definitely no different. Being in the tech space, it is very, very expensive. So having extra income, whether it's passive or active income, whether you have some high yield dividend stocks, or you crypto mine with your gaming PC at night when you're not using it, or you offer some kind of goods and services, or you do fulfillment by Amazon, or you're a writer and you publish on KDP or Kindle Direct Publishing, I do feel like everyone, I guarantee that anyone watching this video is intelligent enough to have some kind of a lucrative side hustle. I guarantee it. Now, not saying you have to do that, but I will say it will make paying for this expensive ass hobby a whole heck of a lot easier. So in my opinion, the cheapest way to get into the next generation of consoles would be to buy an Xbox Series S with Game Pass and a lightly used pre-owned 50 or 40 inch TV with HDMI 2.1 support and decent internet speed on some kind of a promotion for about $60 a month. Again, you have to shop around for all this stuff. You have to do your due diligence because this is your pocketbook, this is your finances. And the only way for you to get the best bang for your buck is to bang your bucks. And you're going to have to shop around and do your due diligence, obviously. But I am going to do a little bit of it for you. I've done some of the legwork. I did shop around for TVs that are either on sale right now that all do support HDMI 2.1, also some budget external SSDs, and just regular hard drives. Anything that I mentioned in the video is linked down there in the description below, as well as this article, which I've kind of debunked a lot of their fudgery over here. This is just a big old silly article, but they did bring up some good points I wanted to kind of embellish on even further. If you guys enjoyed this video, it was beneficial for you guys, added a little bit of value to your day, it was informative and entertaining. Liking the video helps it to get seen by more people, as the YouTube algorithm does no favors for my channel. So when you like the video, it helps the algorithm to tell people, hey, this is a good video. They throw it in recommended feed. It helps me out a huge ton. Subscribe for more videos like this. I do a lot of tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest product reviews and news around the gaming community and industry. And I'm going to sign out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.